Nowadays, whenever something outlandish happens in the world of MMA, we can be sure that footage of it exists. Whether it's Don Fry punching a fan at UFC 270, Conor McGregor rolling around the streets of LA with a broken leg on a scooter, or BJ Penn getting put to sleep by a random pub goer, fans have always found a way to capture these moments and upload them on YouTube for the world to see. But before the advent of social media and instant access camera phones, followers had to rely on word of mouth to relive the bizarre tales involving the UFC and its athletes. And because there's no way of confirming nor debunking the legitimacy of some of these stories, they forever remain part of MMA lore. On that note, here are some of the most bizarre urban legends in the UFC. UFC 1 was supposed to have a moat with alligators. Without a doubt, mixed martial arts is arguably the world's most violent sport. But according to urban legend, the UFC could have been an entirely different form of entertainment, one that's more viscous than it already is today. According to the UFC co-founder Rorion Gracie, the first ever UFC event was supposed to feature a setup where the fighting arena was surrounded by a moat that was to contain either sharks or alligators. The idea was that it would prevent the fighters from trying to run from their opponent, as the alternative would be to be potentially eaten by a carnivorous animal. Thankfully, the concept was said to be scrapped out of fear it would attract unwanted attention from people who might find the sport too barbaric. Wait, that's what they were worried about? The decision makers ultimately opted for an octagon instead of a moat with alligators. I think we can all agree that it was for the best, but you'd be lying if you say you won't watch Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal in an alligator moat match. Matt Hughes switched with his brother for his weigh-ins. It's no secret that cutting weight is one of the most difficult aspects of the fight game. In fact, former two-division champ Conor McGregor once said cutting weight was the hard part and everything else came easy to him. If there's a way to skip the trip to the scale while your opponent goes through the hell of weight cutting, it would be a tremendous advantage. According to MMA folklore, that's exactly what Matt Hughes cleverly found a hack for. How did he allegedly do it? By employing some twin magic. The former UFC welterweight champion and MMA Hall of Famer would supposedly task Mark Hughes, his identical twin, to take the scale in his place. This would allow him to be the fresher fighter come fight night. He supposedly would weigh at around 200 pounds when he makes his walk to the octagon, giving him a significant advantage over his opponent. The Fertitta Brothers Fight Clause. Before being purchased by Endeavor, the UFC was owned by Frank and Lorenza Fertitta, along with UFC president Dana White. The Fertitta Bros have an equal share of the company and have largely been on the same page when it comes to key decisions. But have you ever wondered what would happen if the two Fertitta brothers ever disagreed on something in regards to the UFC? According to urban legend, the Fertittas figured out a way to resolve their disputes by fighting each other for the right to make a decision. Allegedly, the two brothers were bound by a contract which states that in the event that they are unable to come to an agreement, they would square off in a jiu-jitsu match that would be refereed by none other than Dana White, a trial of combat if you will. As exciting as it is to see such a scenario unfold, there is no way of verifying if it's true, or if the Fertittas had settled disputes in the past via a jiu-jitsu bout. Now, if only there's a way Francis Ngannou inserted the same clause on the new contract he's been asking for. Misha Tate choked out Taylor Swift. We've seen Conor McGregor get into a scruffle with popular rapper Machine Gun Kelly, but if rumors were to be believed, former UFC women's bantamweight champ Misha Tate got into a fight with an even bigger musical star. The story goes that the UFC star and the Grammy Award-winning singer crossed paths backstage at a Jabberwocky show in Las Vegas. Unaware of who Tate was, the singer-songwriter allegedly got into the UFC fighter's face and said some things that Cupcake didn't appreciate. Some pundits even reported that Swift was being loud and obnoxious. According to those who have claimed to witness the incident, Tate supposedly grabbed Swift by the neck and appeared to be prepared to choke her out. However, it was said that Tate decided to shove Swift out of the way instead of putting her out like a lamp. It's hard to believe that someone as gentle and mild-mannered as Misha would resort to violence against one of the most popular stars in the music industry. But come to think of it, even harder to believe that people still cared about the Jabberwockies in 2015. Floyd Mayweather gave Nate Diaz $1 million for beating Conor McGregor. Beating Conor McGregor at UFC 196 is inarguably the best highlight of Nate Diaz's career. After all, it was the fight that launched his career into superstardom and turned him into a household name. Nate Diaz reportedly earned a disclosed fight purse of $500,000 for the career-altering win. He took home a total of $620,000, which includes $50,000 fight of the night bonus, $50,000 performance of the night bonus, and $20,000 Reebok sponsorship. However, it was believed that Diaz received a $1 million gift from someone who was so thrilled about what he did to McGregor. The alleged benefactor is rumored to be undefeated boxing icon Floyd Mayweather Jr. According to rumors, Mayweather was so pleased that Diaz finally found a way to shut McGregor up. Years later, Mayweather would fight McGregor himself in the Irishman's pro boxing debut. Floyd ultimately had the last laugh, but the amount of money that their matchup had generated, McGregor is still arguably a big winner in that scenario.